Colonel Cedric Leighton is a retired Air Force intelligence officer. He's in Washington, D.C. tonight. Colonel, welcome. So based on the information we have so far, do you think these guys were connected to some group?
Well, John, I think it is highly probable that they were connected in the sense that they had the ideology of certain groups, probably Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, possibly some of the groups that are active in Syria, which could include Al-Qaeda. And it seems to me that they, while connected ideologically, they may very well have acted independently. So that connection is one that is fleeting, certainly one that, that they use all the time and very standard in a terrorist attack of this type.
It's hard to draw a lot of conclusions from the video we have, but we talked about it last night. I mean, if the suspects left an ID card in their car, and there was some suggestion that they didn't look like they were that well trained, what do you think?
Well, I think I see it as a mix. They were well trained in the sense that they were able to exercise some degree of fire discipline. They knew how to fire AK-47s. They were certainly cold-blooded in their killing of the policemen and obviously of the journalists, at Charlie Hebdo. But they were amateurs in the way in which they escaped. They were successful, at least they've been successful so far, but leaving these traces behind, unless they are false traces, that clearly indicates that something got to them, that they were in essence forced into a panic state or something interrupted what they were doing. So they made the classic mistake of leaving an identity card behind and possibly other evidence that we don't know about yet.
Maybe you can help enlighten us on this issue. They're talking about 100,000 law enforcement officers in France and part of this search. How does that work?
Well, what they do is law enforcement and military forces, when they're doing something like this, when they're searching for somebody or several people, as is the case right now, what they will do is they will try to, in essence, fill up an area. They will try to force out the suspects. So if the suspects are hiding in the woods, like they were supposed to be hiding in a forest northeast of Paris right now, if that's the case, the idea is to force them out from all sides. So if let's say the forest is rectangular in shape, what you do is you basically surround it and you go in and you try to, in essence, squeeze them into the center or to an area that makes the most sense from a tactical standpoint. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to flush them out. They're trying to make sure that they can get them, and if they do try to escape, that escape route is blocked by the other forces that are there.
This happened in France, but is it more likely that it happens in France than in the United States?
Well, that's a very interesting question, John, because France has some significant social issues when it comes to the assimilation of its Muslim population. Depending on the estimate, you're talking anywhere between 10 and 20% of the population of France, either directly tied to the Muslim religion or somehow ethnically related to non-traditional French ethnicities. So if that's the case, and those people are not as assimilated as the mainstream French population is, there's always going to be an issue with how they are not only perceived outside of their community, but also within their community. And if there's a lack of opportunity within that society, that is the perfect breeding ground for extremism, whether it's from Al-Qaeda or ISIS or any other group. And it certainly looks as if these two brothers were affected by this kind of an environment. They seem to have somehow not fit into French society, and they were also certainly willing to travel to Yemen and to Syria, and they bear the hallmarks basically of people who are looking for something greater than themselves and finding it, in this case, I believe, in the wrong places.
Colonel Leighton, it's good to see you. Thank you for sharing your insight tonight.
You bet, John.